To put your hands together and welcome Shankar to the stage, and he's going to talk about data as customer centricity. Thanks, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. All right, hello everyone. Pretty sure Gary gave the whole spiel. So today I'm going to talk to you about our customer centricity solution, what it means to you. So it's just going to focus on some of the core MDM concepts and how we're going to put together all these moving parts together for a customer solution. So as part of developing a solution, we reach out to a lot of people, heads of marketing, CEOs, all these senior execs, and get this feedback. And whilst I'm pretty sure you know that the cost of selling a product to an existing customer is a lot less than the cost of selling the same product to a new customer. But what is interesting is that upselling and cross-selling to an existing customer is a lot harder, right? So when we talk to people, the constant feedback that we get is, how can we improve the customer segmentation, right? So for cross-selling and upselling, because if we don't know the relationships and the segments of the customers that we're marketing to, the message might go unheard. So that was one of the key messages that we get. The other interesting thing when we talk to the sales side of people and the marketing execs again is that they feel that they cannot get a full view of the information that they're looking for, and they're not able to access all of that information that's consistent and clean for cross-selling and upselling. So these are some of the key bits of information that we're getting. And of course, you'll see a few more. So I just want to point you to some numbers and stats. We'll see them as we go along to reinforce the idea. The Gleanster survey was a survey that was conducted in the US across about 100 senior level marketing execs. I'm pretty sure they translate well to here as well. The common theme was a lot of people feel like the information in the actual that they're able to access is not of a very good quality, and therefore they feel let down. They don't feel empowered to generate more revenue with the right kind of information. So let's explore some of the key concepts about what is actually getting in the way, right? So obviously the biggest impediment is clean and consistent data is a key issue for a lot of people. And a lot of businesses fail because of poor quality of information, right? So by poor quality, we're talking about information that's outdated, not consistent, or just outright incorrect or invalidated and so on, right? Also, as I mentioned, in order to do proper segmentation and to target the right kind of sections, you really need to be able to see the full relationship, right, across entities in your organization. So by that, I'm talking customer to products, customer to retailers, customers within themselves in your database. How is everyone linked up together and what the hierarchies are, right? And this is a problem because of fragmentation of information, right? So, all of these bits of information need to be integrated in some way, and it's a fact that at the moment that a lot of the enterprise data isn't fully integrated, and I'm sure you all know that. And of course, the last one is, why can I have full visibility of my information, right? So why can I see all the information that pertains to the customer, transactions and interactions and feedback and the whole picture of the customer? And part of this is because the information is not quite usable, and it's kind of dovetails along with the silos and the bad information. If it's all fragmented and incorrect and not consistent, then you have a real issue making this information usable, right? So that's a key problem. So I just wanted to also make the point that data entropy is a very real and scary thing. Data does degrade a lot over time and declines like with anything else. And as you can see, so many things are in a constant state of flux, right? If you don't capture that information, and if you're not adapting to that change, and you're not really making the most of your information, and this is going to lead to, obviously, incorrect decisions made on faulty information. So the Aberdeen group was, again, another group that conducted a survey across 400 companies. They pretty much, of all sizes, right, large, medium, and small, and they found that most of these companies needed to improve the user experience factor of their customers, right? So it was clear that upon talking to these customers, they also felt the same way, that the experience is kind of muted with these companies. And also, just to drive that home, most of these companies that had good, clean, consistent information claimed a 91% or a 90% retention rate of their customers, and of course, a huge decrease in the sales cycle length. So, some of the common issues, again, we're talking about business to consumer issues, and we're also talking about business to business issues here as well. So, with the business to consumer pain, you obviously, in this example, we're talking about an account. You don't want to be marketed with an account that you already own. You don't want that information to be sent to someone else incorrectly in your household, and so on. And this is a real problem. The marketing does not target the right segment, as we talked about. And this does considerable damage to a lot of companies over time. You kind of lose out on the customer experience as well. So in this case, what are some of the metrics that we can use to improve this? So, well, we can track customer total spend. We can talk about the sentiment analysis of customers. We can talk about how much of what their influence, how are they influenced in terms of how they proceed with the company in their networks. Very similar to business as well, just on a larger scale. In this case, if we talk about marketing services, for example, you don't want to exactly deal with someone who offered you services which weren't that great to begin with, right? Now that's kind of powerful information to know your customer up front, to have that information. If you're going to offer something, you want to make sure that they were happy with their services in the past, right? And that knowledge is real power. And of course, there's other examples where you offer software or training which do not apply in the right cases. So what are the metrics in this case? We can collect information on a much larger scale, things like roll-up reports for business subsidiaries and org lines, and so on. The other interesting thing is you could do the white space analysis in some cases where you mine your existing data in your company and see what hidden potential is already in there. So what are some of the key questions that come up when it comes to this, this space? The fundamental problem is identity resolution, right? At the heart of everything, it's identity resolution. And this is a good place for me to segue into what we do in Canberra. So we create the core technology and the services that perform identity resolution and enable pretty much the core MDM products. So things in MDM that you pretty much take for granted, like merging and merging and deduping and finding the right identity is a result of the fuzzy search and match technology that comes out, which encapsulates bodies of knowledge, geographical knowledge, and variations in spelling and all of that kind of information to put together the identities. It's worth mentioning a good example at this point. I think it's Guitar Center, I think, in the States. They trialed a really cool system where they had facial recognition set up. So as a customer actually walked into the store, they get recognized, and all the people on the floor who have iPads, they get notifications as to, hey, Mr. John walked in, he's got 1,000 loyalty points, and last time he came in, he bought a really cool guitar. Now that's really great information because now the sales guy can actually go and upsell to him, cross-sell to him, and better serve the customer. That's a great example of identity resolution as well in action in real time. Of course, the other aspects of this customer centricity are wanting to know what is the sphere of influence, for example, of this person, and what are the products and similar items that they have purchased, and how are they buying this? Is anyone influencing them to get that information? So this is a great time to bring up social MDM in that context. For example, someone on Facebook buys, shoes or whatever, and they kind of like tweet about it, they put up posts and so on. The cool thing about that is that given that information from which you can obtain legally from third-party sources, or if it's available publicly, you can grab that, you can actually reconcile that person with any of the customers in your MDM implementation, right? So what does that give you? It now means that you can actually use the Facebook APIs to bring back additional information of this customer back into your MDM, right? And when you have that information, you might find other things that you never knew, such as this person likes to watch a certain, her favorite movies, or which store she frequents, or which products that this person buys. All of this is very powerful information because now that enables you to take the marketing directly to the customer and be more proactive. In addition to that, it allows you to create relationships and hierarchies. You can see who else is related to this customer in your system. Whether two or more people frequent the same store, whether the products that they buy are quite similar, and then that really is powerful information that helps you market for cross-sell and upsell. So just a quick note on operational efficiency here. So essentially the marketing team, as we discussed, needs to know the correct segment to market to, otherwise no one's really hearing what you're having to say. It has to be appealing to that right section, right? And this is critical for cross-sell and upsell. Sales, of course, they're going to be empowered. They have to be empowered with the right information before they actually approach customers. And having this 360-degree view of people or your customers really enables the people on the field. Of course, the customer service team is going to have to help put out fires and encourage, liaise with customers and keep in touch with them, make sure their experience is smooth. And the IT team needs to make sure that information is accessible to the right people. So coming back to the fundamental theory, it's this whole notion of fragmentation is available, is present everywhere, right? So in this case, you don't want this person to exist in 4 different separate systems, because in that case, when you talk to one particular system, how do you know that it is the right person in the other system? That's the fundamental problem across, it's quite obvious, but it is the fundamental, it's woven into the problems of most enterprises. And what we really want to do is we want to bring together all of these bits of information together and have this unified view. Right, okay. So with that, we just come to the actual solution that we're trying to promote here. So it is really just a stack of components that we fit together that deliver this experience for this particular domain, right? So what we're really saying is there's 3 things that we need to achieve with this solution, and this solution delivers on those 3 aspects. We're talking about consistency of information, clean and consistent information, the ability to provide a full 360-degree view, and the ability to create meaningful relationships from these entities in that system. Right. In addition to that, the system is going to obviously be able to bring in information from multiple sources. It is going to maintain the integrity of your data. It is going to allow you to obviously enrich the data with third-party information. It can also bring together and master this information into a trusted source. Not only that, it's going to push this information from a trusted source to a data warehouse, and which can, I think we've seen this earlier before, I think Sanjay was talking about it. From the data warehouse, it can be then consumed by analytical applications for limitless insights. So that is the whole stack. And now we will have a look at a slightly different perspective on that, this time from a product point of view. I think the best way I can talk about this is to start off with an example, which kind of dovetails nicely with some of the presentations on Salesforce, because I believe everybody knows what Salesforce is. So to recap this workflow, let's assume that you have people, with a bank and who has multiple customers. So the normal way they would generally set it up if they wanted to go cloud is they would have the Salesforce integration with an on-premise MDM, right? So what would happen in this case is if somebody were to create a new customer account or record rather in Salesforce, that can be cross-checked, right? We can intercept that information. Informatica can intercept that information on Salesforce. Send that information down to the on-premise MDM. The on-premise MDM is going to either reject it based on whether it's a duplicate, right, or it'll actually enrich the record in Salesforce by pushing this information through, right? Once that happens in Salesforce, the information on Salesforce can be further enriched using B2B and also DI. So we can bring in third-party information and also additional information like transactions for this customer and other accounts and assets that this customer owns, right? Once you have that, you can actually capture some of this information via the complex event processing stack. And then you can say, you know, if this person has initiated a transaction of a certain threshold, then you get notified. And now your marketing team has that key bit of information. They can send them a brochure saying, hey, you know what, would you be interested in a high interest checking account, right? So those are some very powerful concepts there, and they integrate. So I think people have done a great job in explaining some of the architectures on Salesforce and so on. So you have great context here as well. So what are the products that do all of this stuff? So you've got obviously Informatica's MDM doing the core searching and matching. Then you've also got the data integration bit, the Informatica's DI, which pulls in information from multiple sources and presents it in a meaningful way. You've got the data quality bit, which is looking after the integrity of the data that's being presented. All of this is continuously being monitored. Then you've got the CEP stack as well. And you've got the B2B for bringing in third-party information to enrich, right? For example, either Axiom or any other major credit card company can publish that information that you can use to enrich your information. So it is a very powerful solution indeed, because it takes into account all of these things, takes those drivers and provides the enhanced experience across multiple channels, right? At this point, I also want to mention that one of the things that we're looking into, you know, searching and matching is so fundamental to what you do. You've got, sure, you know, you're all familiar with the IDD, where you know, view all these tasks and review them by data stewards and so on. But the challenge is to retrieve meaningful information, right? Not just take a bunch of search tokens and send through information, but something meaningful, something that's context-based, right? So what we're focusing on at the moment is we're working with machine learning and semantic-based technologies for providing that context, right? And of course, when you combine that with geospatial information, you get a really powerful set of technologies, right? So for example, I could say, show me the list of top influencers, right, for this product. And I could actually get relevant information, right, you know, for example, and I could pick not just the highest scoring person by name or whatever, but more by context, right? And I can see all the relationships that person has, and I can see that all his friends are, like, you know, tweeting about what he's done, and so on. So it is very powerful information from that aspect. So to recap, why use mastered information? Because it's a clean and consistent source of information. We want it to be the source of information across key business applications, which will empower you. And then, of course, you want to empower analytic applications which run on top. And why do you need to do that? Because based on analytics, you can mine the relationships. You can mine, for example, which customer is related to other customers, which customers are related to what products, and what products are related to the distributors and the retailers, and so on. And you can optimize your channels, right? We will see an example of that. And of course, it reduces KYC risk, your know your customer risk, right? And why is that? Because you're constantly capturing changes, right? So you're continuously monitoring all the changes. Like I said before, customer information changes like everything else. You want to manage that information. You want to capture that information. You want to deliver that information, make sure you have an up-to-date set of information so you can make the key decisions. So jumping into you know, a couple of user stories and case studies. Logitech, no questions asked. Huge company, everybody knows, great local presence. What they needed to do, they had a fundamental problem. They needed to know how the products were performing at a more granular level across retailers and distributors. They also wanted to know why some retailers are doing much better and some distributors are doing much better than others, in different locations, right? So this was pretty much solved by the solution that we just spoke about at a high level. We were able to provide them the customer solution with all the product stacks that we just discussed. They were able to pull together all of these information from varying channels, bring them into a trusted source of location. Then they were able to analyze the hierarchies and the relationships. Then they were able to pinpoint weaknesses in their distribution channels, right? So why is this distributor not being able to service this other place, and so on, right? That other place is already being serviced by this distributor. So they were able to find these kind of hotspots and so on. They were able to optimize that. And of course, they were also able to do the whole one-click marketing, which used all of this information, and it was able to just generate a cool brochure they could just email right away with minimal fuss. The other big user story is Merrill Lynch. Needs no introduction, $27 billion company. The key issue with Merrill was they needed to know, they wanted to improve their understanding of the customer relationships with advisors, right? So these are advisors who have like huge, big customers who have invested a lot of money, 250K, 300K, and so on. So they needed to know how best to optimize these advisors' workflow when they're dealing with these customers, right? And of course, they also needed to see how best to improve the relationship across the channels as well. So what they eventually ended up doing was they used the total customer solution stack, as we described, and they were able to identify the issues in the workflow of these advisors. Like, so one of the things was they would pull out information from fragmented sources of information. They would then, do them manually in Excel and so on. So by giving them a trusted single source of information, the advisors could make the right decisions. Not only that, the salespeople on the field were also able to understand what exactly it is that they were dealing with when they were going to a customer, and then tailor the way they would advise them and speak to them or offer them products for cross-selling and upselling. So that's pretty much the overall view I just wanted to talk to you about today. Particularly with Informatica and what we're doing in Canberra, I would really appreciate feedback from you people who are using our products. And you can, I'll put my email right here, so you're more than welcome to email me your pain points, issues with the product, or ideas and improvements or feedback. We're constantly refining and adding more features. We really do think that you can make a difference. We also have our Identity Resolution Forum in Canberra, which is held quarterly. We try to hold it quarterly. But you're more than welcome to send me a line, and I can pass on your details to the registration in charge. It's a great forum where you can come and share your experiences and meet other customers and all speak about pain points and how they solved particular issues. Okay, thank you for that. And if there's any questions.
Thanks. You taking some questions, are you?
I was just asking.
Yes, sorry. Any questions from the floor?
Hi, Shankar, thank you very much for the awesome presentation. And it was very good to know all about master data management. I would like to know that how you combine master data management with data quality and governance, because I see them, both these processes running hand in hand, or data quality and governance as a prerequisite for master data management.
Right. Okay. So it all begins with the ETL stack, and every business case is going to be very unique to you. So obviously, the first step is to understand where your fragmented data sources are, and you're going to need the whole stack of ETL tools to bring that together. DQ is going to also, it has to be a lot of normalization in data needs to happen as well, and transforms need to happen. So it's really just on a case-by-case basis where we find out the right tools for the right fit, and then we apply those various bits of logic to your particular case. So,
thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Shanks.